Wike and Senator Bashir trade blame over scuffle at Idil, praying ground in Osogbo, and later on the show, Traditional Council commends Governor Bello for citing university in Okunland. I'll be hanging out with Chris Kendi Wandu and Paul Dada, while Babajide Kolade Otitoju will be joining us from Kogi State. If you are ready, let the hangout start now. It is said in a popular parlance that soldier go, soldier come, but barracks remain. For the Nigerian military, it is time for some generals to be retired following appointment of new service chiefs by President Bola Tinubu. The Ministry of Defense had directed all officers on the Nigerian Defense Academy NDA Regular Course 38 below to voluntarily retire from service because the new service chief, except the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Chris Musa, are members of Course 39. In an internal memo, the Defense Ministry stated that seniors of the new service chiefs must exit the armed forces in order to preserve and uphold the tenets of the military profession, which values hierarchy and service discipline. Meanwhile, the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Harit Lagbaja, and Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar, celebrated the Eid Kabir with troops in Maiduguri, addressing them during a Salah launch at Mamalari Cantonment, Maiduguri. General Lagbaja said the visit was symbolic of being his first engagement outside Abuja since he assumed office. In his own Salah message, the Chief of Defense Staff asked troops to be loyal and dedicated to the country. Sikian, this internal memo, let's talk about it. The military, they have this very unique tradition, and that tradition, you can't tamper with it. That is why when General Buratai spent like 64 months seated as the Chief of Army Staff, we knew what he's going to do was he's going to destroy this very rich tradition, because a lot of courses were robbed, of the opportunity of becoming the Chief of Defense Staff and the Chief of Army Staff, as he's, overstayed in that position. So right now, the Chief of Army Staff is course 38. So every course 39. So everybody down.
Yes. First and foremost, let me use the opportunity to congratulate the Nigerian Army, because from Friday they will start the annual Army Remembrance Day celebration. Friday they're going to have mosque. The Sunday there's going to be church service. It's a week-long activity within the Nigerian Army. It comes up once in a year. So for the better part of next week there'll be. So let me congratulate the Nigerian Army once again on that. Yes, it has become the tradition, and it has been the tradition, not just only in Nigeria. I want to believe that it's across the globe, because the military has a tradition of its own where seniority matters a lot, which is why you realize that even during the military era, most of the military presidents, you can hardly see them criticizing their seniors who have retired, especially when they make statements. You see a situation where former General Olusegun Obasanjo, during most of the eras of the Abacha, let's forget Abacha. Abacha is not, cannot be used as a word. When you remember the days of IBB, you can hardly see IBB as the military head of state rubbing words with General Olusegun Obasanjo. Whenever he make any step, he will always say that, Obasanjo is my leader, is my senior, and the rest of them. Even during President Muhammadu Buhari, even when you see Obasanjo making, you can hardly see him replying him. It is always his aides. It's either his spokesman person or whatever. You can never see him. So that is the tradition of the military. They have this way of respecting that column. Now, to this, the Chief of Defense Staff currently was born on the 25th of December, 1967. He replaced General Lucky Rabo. He entered the Nigerian Defense Academy in 1986 and became a second lieutenant by 1991. He is of the regular course 38, 21. I don't know how that comes, but it's regular course of 38. Now, what it means is that, you know, on Sunday we discussed it, and BK Jide tried to analyze it. Once you are of that particular class, any other person above you that is within the military automatically will retire. They will retire, but it is not without the choice, but that of Chief of Army Staff, who is the man on ground, who is in charge of the army. The Chief of Army Staff, General Lagbaja, was born on the 28th of February, 1968. He entered the Defense Academy in 1987. He's a year junior to the CDS. And he graduated as a second lieutenant on the 19th, and is of the course 39th. So the memo is saying that anybody that is above that course 39, of which the Chief of Army Staff has to automatically retire. And they've been given to the 3rd of July to do that. And it's not just Nigerian Army, across board, because the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, Chief of Naval Staff are normally of the same class. So all of them that are of that, anything above class 39 as well, in the Navy, in the Air Force, and also in the Army will automatically retire. So that, because you cannot see your junior, I will say very officer, only very full, you cannot, for whatever it is. And that is the tradition. But, as you rightly said, we lost, it is always the desire of every class of the Nigerian defense to have a chief.
A service chief.
A service chief.
At least.
So many of them, because of the way and manner President Muhammadu Buhari retained most of the service chiefs in the past, most of them lost that. But it's good that the current president is also returning that tradition, as it were. So, and that is what's going to happen. So by the 3rd, I'm sure that we're going to have nothing less than close to about 100 generals across board retiring within now and next week from in the military.
Oh,
yes.
so at least 20 generals will be leaving.
I think it's even more than that.
It will be more than that.
Probably up to 40.
It will be up than that. Because you are talking of the three, we
Yeah,
are talking of just
not just the Army. You have
Yes.
the Army,
the Navy and Air Force.
Yeah, we've invested
that.
everyone.
Like CKN said, seniority is very important in the tradition of the military, and you can't be taking orders from someone who is subordinate to you. Everyone on course 38 will have to go, apart from the CDS, who, yes, is CDS, and then all of the other army chiefs, all of the other service chiefs are on course 39. The Chief of Naval Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, and the Chief of
Army Chief.
The Army Chief. So I think it's a very good development. Now, what is also important is, when these people go, there's an opportunity for positions to be filled by people who are up. These people are going to vacate positions.
More people will climb the ladder.
Yes, we climb the ladder.
So
and then
if you're a brigadier general, you'll be made a major general.
Exactly.
If you're a colonel, you'll be made a brigadier general.
Then
if
it
you're
also
a lieutenant colonel, you'll be made a
It
colonel.
doesn't follow that way.
No.
You have the opportunity. I'll be opening.
Yes,
those positions will be
then it gives opportunity for fresh ideas. I remember the time that we got tired of the Buratai set. You understand?
Yes.
The service
National Assembly
and we're saying, look, these people had outlived, they had run out of ideas on how to handle the security. And we're calling President Buhari, please change these people. But characteristically, President Buhari is slow. He changed them, he got some other people. Now, I think that this gives opportunity for freshness, fresh ideas. No, I'm looking at it beyond just asking people to retire. It actually keeps people focused. It keeps them not distracted. Imagine someone who is junior to you because he's a service chief giving you what's it called? Instruction or something. It's not going to work. But it is not. We must say that it's not victimization. It's a tradition. There's nothing personal about it. It's normal.
Okay. BKO, can you please tell us about this internal memo that the Defense Ministry just reeled out?
What every soldier expects to happen at some point in their career. When you hear of the Army Resettlement Center, this is where they send military men, soldiers who are already approaching their terminal dates in the Army. This is where they send them to. They get trained for the task ahead, which is to become a civilian once again. So sometimes they give up to 6 months for them to exit the military, especially those who are on the same rank with the service chiefs. Those on the same rank with the service chiefs do not automatically remain in the armed forces. It is the prerogative of the particular service chief, the chief of army staff, chief of naval staff, chief of air staff, to keep his own mates that he feels can work with him, that he can work with. So it is not just people on course 38 and below that will go. A good number of officers of the same rank with who are of the same regular course with the chief of army staff or chief of air staff or chief of naval staff, as the case may be, would also go. A good number of them would go. He would only keep those he feels he can work with. A good number of them will be sent to the defense headquarters, for example. That is preparatory to their eventual exit from the army. So if he doesn't like you, and if you people don't really gel together, now that he has become a service chief, you have the same rank, he will have to let you go. So it's not just those cost 38 and below that will go. A good number of the mates of the service chiefs would have to go. It's just something that a good number of them are expecting. My friend, General Osogbo, who built the Nigerian MRAP, he called me in the course of the week to say, my good friend, I have seen my last day in the army. I have officially exited the army. So for him, he's not even waiting for this time ceiling. Yes, he has already he's left the army before the time ceiling. And a good number of them have left. They are not going to wait for the ultimatum to catch up with them. And
let me ask you about the disadvantage of this from your own point of view.
The disadvantage is we are sending soldiers into retirement at a time when their services are still very much needed. When you look at some of the soldiers who are going to retire, they still look fit, they still look young, and they can still offer a lot to their country. So we have to find a way. And I can tell you that some companies, corporate concerns are engaging some of these soldiers as consultants and all that.
Chief security
because they are still useful.
Multinationals.
Yes, I know that Dangote, for example, hired a retired naval general, as a consultant, as a security consultant, because they have his refinery is literally surrounded by water and all that. So these guys they still have a lot in the tank for their country. And we've seen other countries even bring in people who have retired, get them to come back to service to work. you know. So our country doesn't really have a reservist system. In the case of war, we will not have enough people to call up to come and fight for us. Yes, we don't have. We are not like Israel and some countries who have reservists. You see, 19-year-old, 21-year-old, they are reservists. You can call them up at any time, double the number of troops that we don't have that system. And these people are leaving too early, in my view. Because I've seen looking very young, looking fit, and still have a lot to offer. For some of them, it's not their fault. It's just a situation in which, okay, their mate has become service chief, and that mate of theirs doesn't feel that he needs to keep them, and they'll be asked to go. So it's not the...
Okay. I wanted to ask you if we can tinker with the retirement age, the way we did to judges, and that can we say from 60 to 70 in respect of the military, but you will need physical strength.
It may not even work because of the issue of seniority. Okay. In the military, we don't have a situation in which seniors will be saluting their juniors. So when you send people to maybe the Ministry of Defense, for example, they may not encounter the boss as regularly as you will expect if they are among his GOCs and is constantly backing out others, constantly in touch with them, constantly on their case. You get the point that I'm making. So whichever way you look at it, it's a tradition, but for me, I have a few friends, some of them my age mates who have retired, even some retired some years ago. We still have people in the army who are very useful. You can't tell me, for example, that General Izugu is not still useful at this time. No, it's just a matter of circumstances. Look at when we lost the Chief of Army Staff. It was an untimely loss. By the time a new service chief was appointed to replace somebody who was already still new on the job, we still have to lose many soldiers, we have to lose many generals for something that nobody expected to happen. So their mates had to be elevated. Some of us were thinking that the president would pick someone else from the rank of that Chief of Army Staff.
Course.
You know? Yes, because when you look at it, eventually he had to bring his junior. So General Farouk Yahya was junior to the Chief of Air Staff, for example, because of the circumstances that we are talking about. You know, it's a senior. So General Atairu died. Then we brought in a new service chief, and that meant that more people will leave. More people left when Atairu was appointed, and when he died, within so short a time as Chief of Army Staff, we then appointed another Chief of Army Staff, and more people have to leave. So it's not something that I really like to see. What can we do? It's a military tradition. We just have to live with it.
What a funny tradition, Paul.
Well, it's a tradition that has come to stay. But while I agree with Bajide that we may be losing too many people, but I think that these people can always be consulted, even by those who are there now. You understand? When they need them, even if they are not in the army currently, if they are not in the military currently, we cannot just do away with their experience or skill or expertise. No, what I'm trying to say is that, yes, they are officially not
reserve.
Yes, I understand. Yes, but they said something about, there was a statement that they will be in reserves. You understand? Whatever that. No, I understand what you're saying, but they said they will be in reserve. What I'm actually trying to
after your pullouts.
What I'm actually trying to say, it depends on people who are holding sway now. People who are holding sway, if they think that they are very useful, why not? Make use of them, make use of their skill, make use of their experience, make use of what they can contribute.
The fact is that, you know, the problem we have is that, unlike other countries, we are, because of the nature of the way they go to war and some of insecurity, they call their reserves. You see that happen
regularly.
You see that happening in Russia, see that happening in the US at times and the rest of some of this country. we are not a country at war at any given point in time. In the past, how many years? Apart from the banditry, just Boko Haram. Boko Haram is not, you know, there is a different, the way you fight conventional war is different from the way you fight all these. Nigeria is noted for the conventional wars. That is why we could go to Ecomog, we could go to Liberia, we go to Sierra Leone, we said. But practically, let me just give you, as a round of a practical example. The CDS, the current CDS was born on 25th December 1967. AY, I am 4 months older than the CDS. So I was born on the 22nd of August, 1967. So and you can see someone like me as active journalist, as I am retiring at the CKN. Well, can you imagine me retiring at this point? So that is what is happening. You can see the number of people we are losing. Even those that are retired, some of them are talking of. Look at the current chief of army was born. I'm 1 year older than him.
I want to kill you.
And that is it. And we are saying that everybody from that distance is. Whereas we are working on professors remaining till 65 years, we are working on others. So I don't know how we do it. But the fact is that I also believe that, as you said, part of the problem is what President Buhari put us into. That is why we are having this kind of serious challenges. If across board, each of these sets have had the opportunity, we wouldn't have been talking of what we are talking now. But the fact is that we are losing a lot of. But what I have also realized is that some of them are also allowed and called to lecture in most of these higher institutions. There are some of them, if you go to the National War College, I know that some of them retired once in a while, they invite them, it's not like external lecturers, as we do in the university. I know of a professor in my school that retired from Unilag, and for over 10 years has been lecturing at Lee City University. It's close to about 80 years. You understand? So he retired from Unilag, but so this same thing can happen. We can still tap into their, most often than not, you can even tap into their, some of them can also be used in some of these wars we are prosecuting as strategists.
Absolutely.
As strategists. They don't need to go into the, but there can be strategizing. They can also be used for information gathering because of the kind of high level of intel they have. So I don't just think that we should just leave them to waste, but we are, a lot of our destiny we just allow them to do.
All right, we'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out.
In today's world, our lifestyle, both at work and at play, depends on connectivity. Our connectivity depends on the devices that make it possible, and these devices depend on electric power. When power fails, our life shrinks, our work drops, and our joy dips. JRB Solar Energy Systems are here to ensure that we enjoy uninterruptible power, uninterruptible joy. Whether you're running a business, an institution, or just a home you return daily to rest, JRB has got you covered. No project is too big for our super digital inverters, long-lasting batteries, and efficient solar panels. Go. Dream on. Change your world. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar streetlights, and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. With JRB, the sun's gonna shine on everything you do.
This is the University of Africa. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. Her reason to imagine is slay. His reason is to be the GOAT. Theirs is to take the beat and make it lit. They want to test edgy till it is fire. Their reason for imagination is to add Riz in style. And their reason for imagination is just stunt. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking it.
The Ikirin National Association cordially invites the public to the coronation of Akinrin of Ikirin, His Royal Highness Oba Johnson Kolade Otitoju, Egbolona I, which takes place on Saturday, the 1st of July, 2023 at 10 a.m. Venue, Baptist High School Field, Ikeriade, Ijumu Local Government Area of Kogi State. Royal Fathers of the Day, their Royal Majesties, the Olujumu of Ijumu Kingdom, Oba Williams Ayeni JP, or Badofin the First, and the Oluade of Ikeriade, Olu Anthony Bangbayedu, CON, Ahe Mawolo the First. Special guest of the day, Chairman Ijumu Local Government Area, Alhaji Dr. Taufik Isa, and member representing Ijumu constituency in the Kogi House of Assembly, Honorable Omotayo Adeleye Ishaya. Join us in celebrating Oba Johnson Kolade Otitoju Egbolona the First on his coronation as the Akinrin of Ikirin in Ikeriade. Prince Babajide Kolade Otitoju for the family.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Grandma.
What did you do this weekend?
Well, on Friday, I went on a science trip with my classmates to see the gorillas in Rwanda.
Huh?
Then, I watched the Cup final in London with the family. And on Saturday, my friends and I met up to hunt dragons again. Yes. Also, I taught the vacuum cleaner and the TV this new dance everyone's doing. They're really getting into it. And on Sunday, I went to bed watching the world from space. And you? Yes, so Grandma.
With Airtel 5G's lightning fast speeds and seamless connectivity, you won't believe what's next.
Thank you for staying with us. If you are just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout, reaching you live from here from our headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. And I still have Chris Kende Wandu, Paul Dada, and Babajide Kolade Otitoju has been with us from Ikeriade in Kogi State. Thank you for staying with us. So, Chris, let me go to Jide now. The final verdict is that I think something must be done about this tradition. Can we tamper with it in any way?
Maybe, just maybe. If I ask you, if I remind you at what age some of our generals retired, especially during the military era, some retired in their 30s.
Wow, yes,
some
I remember.
Some
34, 35.
Some retired, some retired like 42. You know? I don't know anywhere in the world where generals retire that and we are soldiers.
With white hair. Most generals.
Officers retire that early. I don't know. We've got to find a way because look, we are saying we don't have enough soldiers. We don't have enough troops. We need all the. Boko Haram has opened our eyes. We may say that, we are not our neighbors. We are peaceful with our neighbors. We don't go to war. But things can change. We never expected the kind of challenges that we are having now security-wise to happen. Look at banditry, for example. We've lost generals to this war. We've lost soldiers. We've lost many officers. So we didn't think that it could happen. A day could come when Nigeria will be compelled to go to war. We almost went to war with Chad during President Buhari's, when it was GOC 3rd Division. We almost went to war with Chad. He ordered his troops deep into Chad before President Shagari persuaded him to bring those soldiers back. So you can't say that, we cannot go to war. War can happen anytime. And when it happens, do we have enough? The answer is no. So we must be able to summon all that we have. You will discover when war happens that you don't have enough generals. You know, so this is the situation in my view. Maybe something can be done. Maybe there can be another way by which they go into another phase, whereby they even get more training preparatory to being used in another form, you know, in future when called upon. But I don't think this is a good system.
Paul, the Chief of Army Staff and the Chief of the General Staff, actually the Chief of Air Staff, actually spent their Eid al-Kabir with troops in Maiduguri, and this will be their first engagement to boost the morale of the soldiers at the war front.
I think it was a good thing they did. It was a way of thanking the troops for serving gallantly. It was also a way of boosting their morale. I was actually excited to see that they did that. So I'm sure that the troops, seeing their chiefs, coming, identifying with them, will be encouraged, to keep up the fight. So it was a good thing, a good gesture.
Yes, it's a good job. It didn't start today. Most of the former service chiefs have been doing that. I know that. I think it started with Bratai or one of them, and that's where every Salah he goes there. And it's just as my brother said, it's a moral booster for the troop, and it's a good thing. They should keep it up.
My producer is just informing me that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is somewhere in Marina State House. There's a state visit visiting the governor of Lagos State and with the Senate President and some service chiefs and some members of his cabinet in Marina right now. Let me just take you quickly to see what is happening in the State House, Marina.
Because the high table will be empty.
Yes.
Former senators and former
yes, the right honorable speaker said I should also apologize to former honorable members and distinguished senators who are not serving at the moment, because the entire high table will be empty. The president would have had to come, and the wife would have had to come, even the vice president would have had to come. So, and the right honorable speaker would have, in fact, the chief of staff would have also. So we just wanted the high table to still look the way it is. So that is why we had to pack it. Mr. President, congratulations. And may Almighty Allah bless you, bless your family, and bless your nation. And by in turn, bless this National Assembly that belongs to you and belongs to all Nigerians that work with you to ensure that we lift Nigeria to a higher level. Thank you and God bless you.
Please, can we make the applause louder for the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
Thank you very much. When he said
the church is right behind Mr. President, I was excited because when they were aligned.
As the Senate President,
Godswill
Akpabio, the National Assembly that belongs to you. No, I don't think the National Assembly belongs to Mr. President, Mr. Senate President. The National Assembly does not belong to the President. It's what we call separation of power. Please, you guys, you have to separate it. Please.
But I think he was talking within a context.
Grateful man. Somebody that
you have to understand Nigeria. No, you have to understand Nigeria. The man meant something else. But when it will
be taken out of context.
Which is why
I think the point he was making is that National Assembly is not necessarily an opponent of the executive.
Yes.
No,
partners in progress.
They are partners in progress.
Still separation of power.
However, it is not subservient
of government.
It's not subservient to the executive. It's independent.
It should be independent.
All right. So we should not get it twisted.
No, we shouldn't get it twisted.
All right. Most times in Nigerian political disagreements spill into religious terrain and vice versa. There was commotion at the Osogbo Idi ground on Wednesday after Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State clashed with the former Senate spokesperson, Senator Ajibola Bashir, over sitting arrangements. The development created a scene at the prayer ground as some supporters of the former senator resisted move to arrest him. The scuffle prompted the governor to leave the prayer ground angrily. Both camps are pointing accusing fingers in opposite direction. Yes, so what do you make of this?
For lack of word, I would say this is becoming unbecoming, because this is absolutely unnecessary. First and foremost, you are going to pray to God. You are supposed to reverence yourself. Whatever you are, you are supposed to leave it at the gate and enter there and pray to God. God does not know a president from an ordinary man. Eternity has nothing to do with who you are. A president, if you quote and the way Christians say, a president, quote unquote, can go to hell. And a very poor man can make it to heaven.
But it's also not an author of confusion.
No.
There's protocol in the House of...
The story of Lazarus and the rich man.
I'm also coming. But the fact still remains that I think there was a breakdown in communication. That was what happened. One, people have been losing it to politics. I don't think it's politics. Because, first and foremost, you ask yourself, what was the job of the protocol officers of the governor? From what I've had, I watched the ladies' program this morning, our ladies' program.
Of you?
Yes, of you. They interviewed the senator, Senator Bashir. They also interviewed the CPS to the governor. And you can see a lot of distortion in the information they are coming. The senator said he was on ground. He was at a place where he would worship in front. And the protocol officer, he immediately said that the protocol officers were not on ground. But the CPS doubts that the protocol, in fact, he mentioned 3 protocol officers, that the senator was asked to move from where he was sitting, that is supposed to be a position for the governor. He said he didn't move. But the man said he moved. But at the end of it, what I'm saying in essence is that
he was asked to move twice.
Twice. That he has moved before. At a point, they say he was now asked to move to the back. You know why? I saw the president worship yesterday at Obalende, I guess, in Lagos.
Northern Barracks.
Yes. The president sat. I saw his chief of staff. I also saw former governor of Lagos, the former minister, Fashola, sitting. And there were also other people. Yeah. I saw the national security advisor.
Governor of Lagos was even
I saw the deputy governor of Lagos. Yeah. What am I saying? That is the president. I have seen President Muhammadu Buhari worship most of the time. And I see lineup of this. What I'm saying is that let us even assume that the fact is that first and foremost, we have to know that the security of a...
Okay, second, also we have to join them, Marina, again.
Okay.
To take this picture, this is the most iconic picture of this generation. 4 men, a father, 3 sons that set Lagos right. And then a round of applause for them.
Your vision. We started to train. Now we have the train in Lagos. And it is our honor to present the model of it for you, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Photographers, this is the picture, and I know the caption, a father and his 3 sons. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce him the way I used to introduce him as governor of Lagos State. He's an epitome of dynamism, intellectualism, social and cultural essentialism, a synthesis of Sikhism, Awoism, Ahmaduism, and Babaism. He condemns in totality all forms of political brouhaha, economic chachagara, social embembe, myopic socialism, and dialectical materialism.
Is he speaking?
Wow. From 1999 to 2023. That's a
representation
of Lagos of 99. Bola Ahmed Tinubu from 99 to 2007. Babatunde Raji Fashola from 2007 down to 20.
We've forgotten
8 years later. So that for the first time, I'm seeing Governor Akinwumi Ambode in the mix.
Well, it's actually a very good thing. You know, we don't make enemies forever. You also remember that Ambode was present at Sanwo-Olu's birthday.
No, it was Sanwo-Olu that went.
Sanwo-Olu that went to Ambode. Sorry.
Sanwo-Olu that went.
Sanwo-Olu went to Ambode's birthday. That's the way. You see, the truth of the matter is we don't. And this is actually a lesson for people, supporters of politicians who fight
character called Bola.
Exactly, who fight themselves because of politicians.
Being able to success without a success.
He's a man with a large heart.
He's a man with a large heart.
Since 1999, and he has been able to hold the house.
Exactly.
That's what we have.
And that is why the progress.
Tell me your
movement in Lagos. So that's why you have the progression in Lagos. That's of development.
And you want to replicate it in the country.
That is a roadmap that is being followed. That is why Lagos has been working.
There are people who seem to have fallen out.
Speaking now. Let's take you back to Marina.
and we had a good time. I thought returning to Lagos, I was tired. And I wanted to go home to rest. But you all inspired me. And this is a wonderful evening. Jide hosting the event. Tell me I'm sad supporting. And their wives. I say thank you. To all governors. And I hear that the chairman of the Governors Forum, Abdulrasaq Abdurrahman, is closer to making Nigeria a successful country. They have done well. To have the success, the electoral success at the election twice consecutively against the tyranny of leadership in that state is something else. Thank you very much for making our party very proud. So many of you, the governors here, hope and renew hope. The Senate President, you are a former governor too. So, thank you. The Speaker, you have not been a governor, but I thank you anyway. The Chief of Staff is not being a governor. I thank you. I won't give you the fun of the jokes I had with the former president. We will spill on that another time. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my uncle who brought the vision and the chairman of the Governance Advisory Council, Prince Oluyole Olusi. Thank you very much. I didn't forget that caution and that warning of that time. But you are seeing the essence of perseverance. It took a while, a great journey. The time is gone. I won't dwell on the story of the tortoise, the turtle, and the snail. Who will win the race? But this is the challenging time for us, and God's time is the best. To all of you, our party members or no party members, you came for Eid celebration. You shared the joy of perseverance with me. Thank you. All I want to say today is thank you and thank God. I could see some of my friends who had been long yearning to see me. But the assignment is greater than the love of living room. We got to do the job. And thank you for spreading the understanding to our Nigerian people that we need to take the steps to stop the bleeding of our finances through speedy action. On fuel subsidy. We had no choice. From there, we must re-engineer the effectiveness of control and management of our resources in order to meet the obligation owed to Nigerians by politicians. We are on. And I'm standing here assuring you that I will not relent in working with all of you with available resources. 25 million people, Nigerians. You can't afford to go under. You can't afford to be Father Christmas to neighboring countries. We can't just afford the petroleum subsidy. And it's getting whole around the foreign exchange. Yes. I could have stayed to say I want to share of my benefit. And participate in the arbitrage. But God forbid, no. That's not why you elected me. You chose me to bring about necessary changes that will benefit not only you, but your grandchildren and our tomorrow. I say thank you. We have just started. We have to re-engineer the financial system of the country. Break apart and see that economic planning and budgetary process is transparent enough to cater for all Nigerians. It was today Fashola who was telling me the other time that each time I fly across, I should look down I will see so much dusty, unpaved roads and incomplete projects. Yes, I've seen them. I'm going to see more. But the governors present here today will share the joy with me that we adhere to true federalism. We will work together. Open door policy that will bring Nigeria from brinks back to a resilient economy. Be ready. You governors, I won't pull it off here yet. I know what I'm going to do from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on. And I want us to be partners so that we can rescue our country and make it whole again. I'm very, very grateful. I've kept many of you hungry. Since you are waiting for dinner or lunch that turned to dinner. I'll cut it short. Say thank you. Accept it. I thank all of you. I thank my VP. And you shall receive the joy of giving, the joy of perseverance, the joy of resiliency, endurance. You will see the reward for this country. It's going to be prosper for us and be prosperous. I heard the Senate President and I heard the Speaker. I just didn't allow him to break in. Away from home. I'm glad Tajuddin Abbas is here. And all of you. The chairman of our party is equally here. I want to say thank you to all of you. All of you. I appreciate tonight. I will continue to appreciate it more when we work together to dissect the possible economic prosperity of our nation in favor of our children. And I'm glad to see somebody. Thank you, Akin. Very good. God bless you all. Thank you.
And Your Excellencies, that is the President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Please can we make the applause louder? Thank you. You know, somebody said the speakers are not working. I said, no, you don't know the speakers you are talking about. He said the speakers, he can't hear the microphone. I said, then you should use the speakers that we have here. We have the former speaker here, and then we have the current speaker. Just plug the microphones to them. You will hear me loud and clear.